Hello! So it is winter break, thank God. I have about a week left, which is sad, but at least I have that week. So I've had a lot of time to read, and I've decided that for the next 24 hours, all I'm going to do is read, and I'm going to see how many books I can finish. So, for this little challenge, I've gathered up all the very short books on my TBR. I'm just going to see how many I can finish in this time period. The first is 19 Claws and a Blackbird by Augustina Basterica. This is a collection of short stories by the author of Tender as the Flesh, which is one of my favorite books last year. Well, not last year, the year before that. God, time flies. That's all I know about it. Next, I threw in some Shakespeare, The Taming of the Shrew. All I know about this is that I've seen the movie 10 Things I Hate About You. Then I have The Lover by Marguerite Duras. Know nothing about this one either. This is probably the one I'm most excited about, The Stepford Wives by Hour Readathon. This book follows a family who moves into a new neighborhood, and it follows the journey of the wife specifically as she starts to realize that something is kind of wrong with all the other wives in the neighborhood. At least that's the synopsis of the movie. I'm pretty sure it's also the synopsis of the book. It would be weird if they were different. Then I have The Color Purple by Alice Walker. I've never read this book. I actually have no idea what it's about either, so I thought this would be a good time to experiment. Not experiment, but to read it. Madonnas of Leningrad by Deborah Dean. This book follows the siege of Leningrad, and it follows someone who's like working in an art museum and is like hiding the paintings from the Nazis. Childhood by Tove Ditlevsen. This is the first book in the Copenhagen trilogy. I think this is the shortest of all of them that I have here. And I believe this is like a memoir or like semi-autobiographical. I can't say that word ever. But just follows her childhood and working class neighborhood in Copenhagen. Then we have Time as a Mother by Ocean Vuong. This is a collection of poetry, so I put this in here because I think I can get through it pretty quickly. I've also already read 12 pages of it like months and months and months ago, so I may as well finish it now. And last but not least is The Eye of the Heron by Ursula K. Le Guin. I had a moment there where I was like, is K the right letter? Because I just kind of made that up. Know nothing about this one either, except it's sci-fi, it's Le Guin, I'm gonna love it probably. So there we go. I think I'm gonna start with The Stepford Wives. Stepford Wives and Time as a Mother. I'm gonna read two at a time so I can like alternate when I get a little bit bored of reading. I can just go to the other one. That's my plan. So let's get reading. You can see my stack of all the books I'm currently reading because I can't make up my fucking mind. Okay, so I started this challenge at noon. It's now like 1:30 and I took like a 30-minute break to have some lunch. But I finished The Stepford Wives. It was so fucking good. So this book essentially follows our main character Joanna, who's just moved to Stepford with her husband and children. As she starts to move in though, she's having a hard time making friends because all of the women in the neighborhood are like devout housewives and refuse to do anything other than that. She makes one friend named Bobby and they start to become suspicious as to why the neighborhood is how it is. This is such a great examination of not only like the suburbs, but also gender roles of... Why did I say that when I like forgot where I was going immediately? I don't know. Let's just leave that in the past. My favorite part of this though is like her husband and how her husband in the beginning, like she describes him as like a feminist and he's supposed to be on her side, and then like as it goes on that just becomes more and more interesting. I haven't made any progress in Time as a Mother just because I've been so into The Stepford Wives. Oh, I gave this 5 stars, by the way. So I'm going to read a little bit of this, but my main focus I think is going to be childhood next. This book is only 99 pages. Stepford Wives was 123. So I'm 123 pages and I feel pretty good about that. I'll check back in another hour. I love that you can see Saphira. She's mad at me because I just tried to brush her teeth. And she hates it. Okay, I just finished Childhood. Honestly, like... my feelings on it are just that it's okay. Like, it was just so short that I don't feel like I have many other thoughts on it. And that's kind of like why I'm not great with short stories and poetry and stuff. I feel like I need something like longer to have like real thoughts about it a lot of the time. If that makes any sense. So I'm giving this 2.5 stars. I will say the only reason I'm not giving it like 2 is because the writing is really great. The author is just very talented when it comes to that. Like the way that she puts together words and stuff, it's just, there are a lot of sentences where I just had to like pause a moment and like really take it in. But yeah, that's it for this one. 2 books down. I'm still in the middle of, what is this called? Time as a Mother. I'm on page 68, so I'm most of the way through this, well, over half. And I think that next I'm gonna pick up The Lover. I did briefly try to pick up The Taming of the Shrew before I started filming this because my heat was on and it was making a noise so I couldn't film. And I got to the first page and it was just like, I don't know about other editions of Shakespeare, but in these editions, or the editions I collect, there are like footnotes to help you understand, and there are just so many on the first page already that I was like, no, I don't feel like doing this, so I will not be reading this today in these 24 hours after all. So I'm gonna give The Lover a shot. We'll see if I end up following through with that. We'll see if I can finish Time as a Mother. Sophia is still here, don't worry. Okay, so it's 6 o'clock. I took a couple hours off to eat dinner and to take a break because I got really sick of reading. I just finished Time as a Mother. I gave it 2.5 stars. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I just can't understand poetry. I can't get into it no matter how hard I try. I'll see poems sometimes on like Instagram and stuff like that I like, but whenever I try to read actual like poetry collections, I just can't do it. So the low rating isn't really a reflection of the book, it's more so a reflection of me and my enjoyment. But I boosted it up a little bit to be more fair. I just feel like I don't get it, you know? I feel really stupid when I read poetry sometimes. That being said, like I did like some lines in here for sure. I really liked his use of like violent imagery, and I liked when he talked about his mother. Time as a Mother, but I don't have much else to say. I'm about 6 hours in, I have 3 books done, about 300 pages. I could definitely do so much better than that if I hadn't taken, I think I've taken like 3 hours off at this point total. So I've only been actually reading for half the time I said I was going to. I'm in the middle of The Lover. So far nothing has happened other than like there's this French girl who's talking about how she lives in Vietnam and she's talking about like her mom and stuff like that, but nothing like plot wise has really happened yet. I do absolutely love this cover though. I think it's beautiful. I do now need to pick a second book to switch on and off with this one with. So I'm either gonna do 19 Claws and a Blackbird, The Madonnas of Leningrad. I'm kind of gravitating towards this one because I think I need just like an easy one story to read versus like the short stories. Like maybe that'll help me read more if I can get interested in the characters and stuff. So that's it for now. I'll update you actually soon. All my books just thrown on my bed behind me. That's great. Okay, book 4 is finished. Saphira's here. Ooh. So essentially this book follows a French girl that's living in Vietnam in the 1920s, I believe. It's kind of I can't say this word, autobiographical. At least that's what everything online says. Actually, the author herself said that this book was a load of shit. So that's really funny. But it follows this young girl in Vietnam. She meets this Chinese man and they start to have sex. That's pretty much it. It jumps around a lot, like time-wise, which gets a little bit confusing, but ultimately I really liked the writing. I just thought that the prose was beautiful. Maybe not beautiful, but very like, Roxane Gay on Goodreads called it lush, and I agree with that. I will say my one complaint is that this girl's 15 and this man is 27. We're just constantly reading about them having sex. It just makes me a little bit uncomfortable, probably more than a little bit uncomfortable. If I'm being honest. But ultimately I did like the book. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. So that's for that. I've also been reading The Madonnas of Leningrad and I am about 100 pages in. So I think I'm gonna start reading this one along with 19 Claws and a Blackbird. These are short stories, so I might just read like one short story and then one chapter of this and kind of go along like that. But I think I'm going to take another hour break just because I'm so sick of reading right now. I don't want to do it at all. I'm going to push through, but I just need a break to cross stitch for a little while. So I will update you again when I feel like it. Oh, also it's 9 p.m. So I've been doing this for 9 hours and I've only finished 4 books. Which, like, if I actually was reading for 9 hours, I would definitely have finished more books for now. But it turns out it's hard to do nothing but read all day long. Who would have thought? Okay, it is 11 p.m. I'm 140 pages into The Madonnas of Leningrad, and I'm going to bed. Good night. Hello. It is 10 a.m., so about 2 hours left of this challenge. I'm here with Saphira, and I've just finished The Madonnas of Leningrad. by Deborah Dean. Severa, please wash yourself somewhere else. I Accepted this book follows our main character Marina during two different time periods in her life. The first is when she was younger during the siege of Leningrad, and the second is when she's older and she's suffering from Alzheimer's. So each chapter follows one of those periods. I am like morbidly fascinated by the siege of Leningrad. I read about it in The Bronze Horseman many years ago, and ever since, like, I'm just fascinated by it. It's awful and terrible, and I'm fascinated by it. I will say, like, I wasn't that into this book. I don't think I would have finished it if not for this challenge and if not for me being just super stubborn. I think the chapters where she had Alzheimer's, although it was like good representation of like dementia, I just don't really feel like they added anything to the story at all. Severa, you're hurting me. I don't know, I gave it 2 stars. That's pretty much all I have to say. I am only, I think, 9 pages into 19 Claws and a Blackbird, and I have like under 2 hours left. So I'm just gonna read as much of this as I can, and then I will come back to you once the time is over, or once I finish this, whichever one comes first. Okay, it's been 24 fucking hours. I have not finished 19 Claws. What's it called? 19 Claws and a Blackbird. But I got over halfway through. I got to page 92. So let's talk some stats. I read 5.5 books. I read a total of 772 pages, which comes out to roughly 32 pages an hour. I feel like I did so poorly. To be honest though, like, I got so sick of it after like hour 3 or 4. I really feel like I need to save this for a time where I really feel like reading. I'm definitely gonna do this challenge again sometimes because I want to beat those numbers. I don't think I'll be able to beat the number of books read because I read pretty much all the short books on my shelf, but I think I can beat the page count. I really think I can. But that is all for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon with another video. Goodbye.